So I'll start with something that I really think is important to continually repeat for everyone, not just women or LGBTQ, but everyone to repeat, is that we make our best policy, we do our best work, whether we're a company in the private sector or a government official, when we have all the different kinds of voices at the table. And that's because each one of us looks through a different lens that's a reflection of our own experiences. And so we don't want 10 of me. We want one of, maybe one of me, one of somebody else. We want a variety of people, right? We want many, many people who have grown up differently, think differently, see the world differently. That gives us our best opportunity to really be successful as nations and as a global economy, as a global society. So that's the value proposition, why this is so important. And what I will say to young people everywhere, what I do say to young people everywhere who are looking at a world that doesn't necessarily reflect who they are, maybe there aren't as many women, there aren't as many LGBTQ, is you have to both have patience and perseverance all at the same time. You have to realize we won't change the world overnight, but if we work every single day, changing it one person at a time, we will change it, and likely in our lifetimes. And so it takes this sort of resolve to stay with it, stay focused, and recognize that just because we don't get the change immediately doesn't mean the change isn't happening. And that's a lot to ask of our younger generation. I will say that. So it's up to us all in generations that are older to double down in our commitment to say we really want a world that reflects all the voices, not just those who have been there in the past, but everyone.
Have you experienced yourself the so-called glass ceiling because of your gender or sexuality in the past? And if so, how have you overcome those things?
Well, it's hard to say that I've hit a glass ceiling when I'm the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. But what I will say is that it is never felt as easy as I would want it to be for young people coming after me. And that's whether because I came from the lower part of the income distribution as a kid, because I'm LGBTQ, because I'm a female, it's just never been as easy. So what I really think is you're always sort of swimming upstream, right? And proving that you belong. And wouldn't it be nice, basically, if we assumed everyone belonged and we let them tell us that they don't, that they're not ready for a job, as opposed to assuming because they're come from something we don't recognize that maybe they can't do the job. So I have felt like at every turn, I have needed to really prove that I deserve to be there. Mm-hmm. And I want all of us to commit to make it easier for the people who come behind, because it takes bandwidth. People have to think about that. If you have to worry all the time that you have to prove yourself, that's all that brain power that we could be using to solve important problems that we face as a world, right? And that is brain power we're not letting go to its best and first use, because we're having people be captivated, proving that they belong somewhere that they absolutely deserve to be.
Talking about making things easier for younger people, what do you think about the idea of creating a quota system for race, gender, and sexuality?
Well, there's certainly several companies have put those forward. For me, I would say that for me, I think quotas can send the wrong signal sometimes. So I prefer to think about having goals. And the goals are, let's have our workforce reflect the populations we serve. So I'm in public policy, I'm the Federal Reserve. So I want the 12th district employees to look like the people who we serve in our communities. And for me, that's an easier value proposition, because it is something that says we want balance. We're not just looking for one type and then tomorrow we'll look for a different type. We want a balanced portfolio of people. Because we want these different voices. So, I think these are hard problems to solve, and everybody's gonna try different things. And what we're gonna hope to deliver is two things: more diversity, more inclusion, and also some best practices that companies can use. So in my own bank, we have committed to equity goals. We are looking to have our population, our workforce, reflect the people we serve, and we're doing it in a time frame. And we're putting out our yearly numbers so that people can see how much we've achieved. But it's a lot more than just hiring people. And this is something I'll say: you can't just hire people and hope they thrive. It's about getting people in, developing them, coaching them, nurturing them so that they really feel like they belong. In the end of the day, inclusion counts just as much, if not more, than diversity. You have to include people because you just don't want them sitting around the table and saying you've achieved it. You want them having a voice, and that voice only comes when they feel like they're wanted.
We would like to know a little bit about your life.
Thank you for that question. I don't know if you know, or your listeners or readers would know that, I didn't graduate from high school in the United States because I had a lot of challenges in my family, economic and health challenges. And so I dropped out to help support my family, support myself when I was 15. And then I was so fortunate. I just found a mentor, Betsy, and she told me I should get a GED, which is an equivalency degree for high school. And so I was about 17 when she encouraged me to do this. And I got this degree, and I thought then I would maybe be a bus driver or something where you need a degree to get this job. And then she said, maybe you should go to college. And I didn't really ever heard of college, but because I didn't grow up in that environment, but she encouraged me, and I took a semester. And then I was pretty good at it. And she encouraged me to go get a 4-year degree. And here I am, president of the San Francisco Fed. So the really important thing to take from this story is that, well, there's two things. First of all, people are so much more capable than we think they are when we see them when they're 15 or 20. And I was so fortunate to have somebody see in me something that others never saw and that I couldn't see myself. So that's a critical lesson. The other critical lesson from my own experience is that people hear my story and they think, wow, that's so unusual, because it is. But what we really want to aim for is it's not unusual at all. What if it's normal? What if every kid, no matter where they get born, no matter where they grow up, no matter how their circumstances start, they can end their circumstances based on their effort, their skill, and their ability, and of course, their perseverance. That's what I really want out of our world.
All right. Would you say your life is like a new version of American Dream?
Well, I think I'm living fully the American dream, and I think that should be a dream of every young person. They can do whatever they set their mind to. But I had so much help, and so the thing that I really feel is gratitude. I just feel very fortunate to have so many people who helped me along the way, and I'm dedicate myself to helping others.